The tragedy of Darryl McDaniels wasn't just that his life took a horrible turn, but that behind the crown of the King of Rock lived a man slowly drowning in his own success. While millions celebrated DMC as hip-hop royalty, he was silently battling demons that would nearly destroy him completely. But this isn't just a story about falling down. It's about getting back up and turning your deepest pain into your greatest purpose. Born in Queens, New York, Darryl McDaniels started as a nerdy kid who loved comic books and storytelling. This quiet boy would channel his love for stories into writing raps during his teenage years. When his artistic dreams connected with Joseph Simmons and Jason Mizell, something magical happened. Run DMC was born in 1982, and they were about to change music forever. The group exploded onto the scene like nothing before them. They signed with Profile Records in 1984 and released their first album. Their impact was instant and massive. Run DMC's music video for Rockbox became the first rap video ever played on MTV. This single moment launched hip-hop into the mainstream and opened doors that had never been opened before. The first kept coming. They were only the second rap group to appear on American Bandstand. They became the first rap group to perform on Saturday Night Live. They graced the cover of Rolling Stone magazine as the first rap group ever to do so. Then came their masterpiece. The 1986 album Raising Hell featured their legendary collaboration with Aerosmith on Walk This Way. The album went triple platinum and solidified their place in music history. During this time, Darryl became the King of Rock, a bold and confident character with a deep, booming voice that commanded respect. He was the face of success, power, and unstoppable energy. But behind this larger-than-life persona lived a completely different person. The truth was shocking. The man who proudly yelled, "Maya Dadas," to packed crowds was actually a shy boy who found comfort in comic books. From the very beginning, Darryl struggled with intense performance anxiety. Every time he had to face a crowd, fear would grip him. So he found a solution that seemed to work: alcohol. At first, drinking helped him overcome his stage fright. It gave him the confidence to become the King of Rock that fans expected to see. But as Run DMC's fame grew bigger, so did the pressure, and so did his drinking. The problem went much deeper than just nerves. Darryl had written much of the group's early work, but he felt his creative voice was being pushed aside. The band started moving toward New Jack Swing, a direction led by Jam Master Jay. Even though Darryl went along with it, he later said it affected him mentally. In therapy years later, he realized he was compromising who he truly was just to please his bandmates because he was so worried about what they would think of him. This created a painful split in his life. The bold King of Rock persona was the complete opposite of who he really was inside. The pressure to maintain this fake identity while dealing with his personal anxiety pushed him to rely on alcohol more and more. It became a destructive cycle. The more successful the group became, the greater the expectations, and the more he drank to handle the fear. By the late 1980s, his drinking had become a serious addiction. He was consuming a case of 40-ounce Old English beers every single day. He even installed a refrigerator in his truck so he would never run out. His wealth made it easy to avoid the inconvenience of stopping at stores. The addiction was so deep that he subtly referenced it in his lyrics on the 1990 album Back from Hell, which he later admitted was recorded while he was completely drunk. This dangerous lifestyle caught up with him in 1991. He was rushed to the hospital and stayed there for a month and a half with acute pancreatitis. The doctors delivered scary news. While he had somehow avoided liver damage, his pancreas was bruised and battered. They gave him a choice that would change everything: drink and die or stop drinking and live. The seriousness of this moment forced him to quit cold turkey. For several years, he stayed sober, but stopping drinking didn't fix the deeper problems. His depression grew worse. He felt empty going through the motions of touring. He felt disconnected from his family. Everything reached a breaking point during a 2-week tour in Japan in 1997. This became the darkest period of his entire life. He later called it his suicidal worst. Every single day, he was plagued by thoughts of ending his life. He considered jumping from windows, taking poison, or using a gun. The depression convinced him that his family would be better off without him. During this terrifying time, he found an unexpected lifeline. A soft pop song by Sarah McLachlan called Angel somehow reached him in his darkest moments. He credits this song with literally saving his life. He called it a life preserver thrown to him during a storm that helped him stay afloat until real help could arrive. The song kept him calm even when every part of him was screaming to give up. But there was another devastating blow coming. Around this same time, Darryl began losing something that defined him completely: his voice. He was diagnosed with spasmodic dysphonia, a neurological disorder that causes the vocal muscles to spasm uncontrollably. His once powerful, booming voice became strained and weak. This wasn't just a physical problem. Losing his voice was like losing his identity. His entire career and public image was built on his vocal strength. Having that taken away made him feel like he could no longer do the one thing he was put on earth to do. As he said, "Your voice isn't just how you sound, it's who you are." He believed his own actions had caused this condition. He connected it to his aggressive vocal delivery and years of heavy drinking. Whether that was medically accurate or not, the guilt made his depression even worse. The vocal disorder felt like the final proof that his life as the King of Rock was over. Then in 2002, tragedy struck the group directly. Jam Master Jay was murdered, effectively ending Run DMC. This loss sent Darryl spiraling back into drinking after years of sobriety, but the biggest shock was still coming. In 1997, while working on his autobiography, his mother revealed something that changed everything. He was adopted. At 35 years old, he learned over the phone that he had been placed for adoption when he was just 1 month old. He discovered he was born in Harlem, not Queens where he grew up. This news initially devastated him. He felt like everyone had known this secret except him. Combined with everything else he was dealing with, the adoption revelation triggered a 4-year relapse into heavy drinking. However, this discovery eventually became the missing piece he had been searching for his whole life. It explained the funny feelings and sense of detachment he had carried for years without understanding why. He began to see his struggles not as random failures, but as symptoms of a deeper wound that had never been addressed. The adoption revelation became the catalyst for his real recovery. It allowed him to completely reframe his life story. Instead of seeing his adoption as abandonment, he began to view it as his destiny. He realized he was meant to go through all these experiences so he could eventually help other foster kids, adoptees, and people struggling with mental health. In 2004, at his wife's urging, he entered treatment and began therapy. He called therapy the most powerful thing he could do. He challenged the idea that seeking help was weak, famously saying, "Therapy is gangsta." This was especially important for men, particularly black men, who might feel that asking for help shows weakness. His recovery journey led him to search for his birth mother. In 2005, he found her living in Staten Island, practically next door to where he lived. Meeting Bernsania was deeply emotional. It was the first time in his life he saw a family member who looked exactly like him. He also discovered he had siblings he never knew existed. When his birth mother explained that she gave him up to give him a chance, it provided powerful closure and confirmed his new understanding of his destiny. In 2006, Darryl co-founded the Felix organization with casting director Sheila Jaffe. The name Felix means lucky or fortunate, showing how completely he had reframed his perspective. The organization helps children in foster care, directly addressing the foundational trauma of his own life. He channels his childhood love of comic books into his advocacy work, using Spider-Man's motto, "With great power comes great responsibility," as his guiding principle. He sees his painful experiences as a superpower that he's responsible for using to help others. The organization runs multiple programs, including Camp Felix, which provides summer camp experiences for foster youth, and various other initiatives supporting kids throughout the year. Beyond his organization, Darryl became a vocal advocate for adoptees' rights to access their original birth certificates. He has testified before state legislatures and received the Congressional Angels in Adoption Award for his work. He also sits on the board of the JMJ Foundation, honoring his fallen bandmate Jam Master Jay. His transformation is remarkable. The man who once felt his life was over has become a powerful voice for mental health awareness and adoption rights. He has turned his deepest vulnerabilities into his greatest strengths. His work helps break the cycle of untreated mental health conditions and provides hope for people facing similar struggles. Darryl's story proves that public success and personal happiness don't always match. The King of Rock, who seemed to have everything, was actually a man consumed by anxiety, addiction, and despair. But his journey also shows the incredible human capacity for recovery and transformation. The crown he wears today isn't for his musical fame, it's for the compassionate purpose he now represents. He has built a meaningful life from what once felt like complete ruins. His story shows that true strength isn't found in never falling down, but in having the courage to face your deepest struggles and use your experience to lift others up. Darryl McDaniels proves that even the most tragic circumstances can become the foundation for the most powerful purpose.